Hey, this is Barry coming to you from the Bears Den. You know, I celebrate 10 years this year with one of my favorite buddies. His name's Abraham. I talk about him a lot because he's one of my favorite dogs I've ever owned. But our relationship started out real rocky. You see, I rescued Abraham from a man who had abused him. And when I got him home, my son and I took him out of the back of the pickup, and as his feet hit the concrete of our driveway, the neighborhood dogs went berserk. And Abraham thought I had done something to him. So he tried to start biting me at that very moment. My son took him and put him in the backyard, and he loved my son. But every time I came around to Abraham, he would try to bite me. I'd reach out my hand in love, he'd try to bite me. I'd reach out with food, he'd try to bite me. I'd get near between him and my son, he'd try to bite me. And then it occurred to me that, you know what? Maybe I can win this dog's love through food. And I sat down in a chair and I had a hot dog cut up in about 10 pieces. And I held it in my hand and he wouldn't even come close. He would try to bite me. So finally I just threw it out on the ground, quite a ways from me. Abraham wearily walked over there and he ate that hot dog. I threw another piece a little bit closer and he wearily walked over there and he smelled of it and then he ate it. Then I held it out in my hand and he came closer and he tried to bite me again. We played this game for 3 days before I ever got Abraham to eat out of my hand. I drew him in piece by piece, chunk by chunk of that hot dog. You know what? God's the same way. God offers us love and God offers us peace and God offers us grace. But we want to do things our own way. We get so wounded in the world, we even lash out at God. But God never fails. God continues to pour out love to us and offer us grace and continue to draw us in. You know, I can drive up in the driveway now and I can hear my dog just whining to be with me. He wants to come and be with me and I want to be with him. And we have a relationship now that spanned 10 years and we love one another. And I know he's coming into his last days on this earth and I'll grieve his loss. But I'll know that God put us together so that we could love one another. And when I speak of Abraham, it always reminds me of the love of God. God's love is so much more than what man has for one another or for his creatures. And God will continually offer us that food of grace, offer us that food of mercy to draw us in where we can be loved. I pray this week you don't back up from God. I pray this week you don't lash out in anger. What I pray is that you receive grace and you know that God loves you and you step in just a little bit closer so that you know the true love of God. You have a blessed